Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kaylee and it's lovely to have you guys here. I thought for my first video on this channel, I would do a little book haul. You can kind of see the piles sticking up out here. Just a note before we get into it. So I have been on a book buying ban for the last few months now. I think starting in about April, I went on a book buying ban. I think the only thing I bought since going on that book buying ban was Releasing 10 when it dropped in June, just because my friends and I had buddy read the rest of the Binding 13 series, and so we had decided to read this one together as well. But other than that, I hadn't really bought books. I was trying to get my physical TBR count down. So I was on a book buying ban up until my birthday last month. So between April and August, I was able to read my physical TBR down 20 to 25 books. For my birthday, I went on a little book shopping spree at Barnes & Noble. I left, did some traveling, came back, and went on a second book buying spree and went a little bit overboard. So all those books that I had read down, my physical TBR, it's like nothing ever happened. My physical TBR is back up over 100 books, and I will be implementing another book buying ban from now until the end of the year to try to get this back under 100, hopefully closer to 75 or even less than that if I can stay strong. Let me see, I bought 24 books during the last two book sprees. Overconsumption, yeah, this was definitely way bigger than I had meant to go. I definitely went a little overboard, but it's fine. We'll just save my wallet and try not to buy anything else till the end of the year. Let's get started. I bought 2 box sets, so I'll start with those first. The first set I bought is the Belladonna collection by Adeline Grace. This is a young adult fantasy. If I remember correctly, I believe this had something to do with poisoning. I've seen a couple booktubers reading this series. They seemed to enjoy it. I figured I would give it a shot. I really love reading YA. I love fantasy books and reading something about poisoning. I haven't read anything related to poison or any of that kind of stuff, so I figured it might be something different to read. And then the next series I bought the box set for Heartstopper by Alice Osman. This box set has books 1 through 4, and recently book 5 has also come out, so I bought that as well. If you've never heard of Heartstopper, it is a queer romance graphic novel series. It was turned into a Netflix show. I think it's on to I think they are on season 4 of the Netflix show. I've only watched the first 2 seasons, but it was really cute, super heartwarming, and I just loved it. So I figured, why not get the books and try those out? I am not a big graphic novel person. I haven't really read any graphic novels, and I figured starting with something that's a little familiar to me might help me determine if I would enjoy that kind of thing. Moving on, I have a substantial amount of hardcovers. This next book was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. I absolutely love everything that this author has written. She's one of the first authors that I've loved their entire body of work. I'm not really the type of reader to follow an author, to read through an author's work. Everything that this author has put out, I've absolutely loved, and I am of course talking about Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this is Atmosphere. Pretty much everybody and their mom has read this, and every single time I've seen someone read this, it has ended with them crying, heartbroken, just feeling all of the emotions, and I am so excited for this to tear me to pieces. At the end of last year, I read Daisy Jones and the Six for the first time, and I loved it. So then I started going through this year the rest of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. So I've read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, Carrie Soto, all of those. I finally got caught up, and now that I am caught up, I am so excited to read this soon. This is absolutely towards the top of my TBR. I can't wait. The next book is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I was watching a bunch of booktube videos, and I saw people saying that this is Holly Jackson's first adult novel and that it has a restricted timeline of 7 days. Normally, thrillers aren't my thing. I tend to get very bored during a thriller. I have tried all of Book Talk's favorite thrillers. I've tried The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I've tried whatever the Lisa Jewell book is. None of this is true. And most of the time, my problem is that I just don't care. I am never connected to the characters enough to give a damn about the plot twist. But according to everyone I've seen, this has been really good. The stakes are so high. You feel connected to the characters. I'm hoping that this is it. Because I did read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I liked the first book, but then from there, the series kind of just fell off. I don't think I rated any of those books over 4 stars, but the writing was really palatable. It just felt a little too YA for me. So hopefully, with this being Holly Jackson's adult novel, the writing will still be super easy. I won't get the issue of the YA feeling, and I'll enjoy this a bit more. We hope. Next book is The Compound by Aisling Rawl. I am so sorry if I'm saying this wrong. This book is about, I think, a group of people who compete on a reality TV show. I saw that this is less of a thriller and more of a lit fic, like social commentary kind of book. I am absolutely addicted to reality TV competitions, whether that's Survivor, The Challenge on MTV. I eat those up every single time. Seeing a book about reality TV, a bunch of people being stuck in a house, very Big Brother kind of feeling, The Challenge kind of feeling, I'm intrigued. I know that this book has a lot of mixed reviews, but I am excited. I'm wary, but I'm excited to give this a try, especially because one of my favorite booktubers, Jamie Falk, she said that she really enjoyed this book. So we'll see how it goes. And Jamie has given me some 5-star recs. The next book is called The Passengers on the Hankyu Line by Hiro Arikawa. This is a Japanese translated fiction. It follows 6 different people on this train line and kind of shows how their lives are intertwined. I haven't seen anybody talk about this book. My partner and I were just strolling through Barnes & Noble, and he saw this cover with the little dog on the front, and the fact that it's the Hanki line, which we had just come back from Japan when we used this specific train line, and he handed the book to me and went, "Here, try this one." And I said, okay, why not? The cover, absolutely stunning. Based off of the description, the little blurb, it sounds like this will be another like lit fic kind of book. One of those books that focuses on the mundane and very character driven. I am excited. We'll see. The next book is The Poppy Fields by Nikki Ehrlich. The Poppy Fields, I don't know anything about this book, but I read The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich, I think last year, and that was, if it wasn't a 5-star book, it was damn close. I absolutely loved The Measure. I thought it was well written. The premise was so interesting. And so this was her new book that she released this year. And I figured, you know what? Let's give it a try. Let's find out how it'll go. Absolutely loved The Measure. Saw this come out and decided I'll give this one a try as well. These Summer Storms, I'm not sure what this book is about. Let me check the blurb. So These Summer Storms is a like family drama type of book. This girl, Alice, her father passed away and left an inheritance game to determine who will receive the inheritance. So it involves a lot of drama, a lot of family drama, a lot of grief, and of course a competition. So I've seen people talk about it. To be completely honest, I don't remember what they said about this, whether it was good or bad. I clearly didn't remember what the premise of the book was. I just know that when I saw it, it sounded like something I would be interested in. And so I picked it up. Plus, this cover, absolutely stunning. It is basically the end of summer right now, though, while I'm filming this. So I'm running out of time to read it if I would like to be seasonal with this. But I'm also not really the kind of person to be seasonal with her books. I read Beartown in the middle of a goddamn heat wave. I read the whole Beartown trilogy. Books about snowstorms and hockey in the middle of a heat wave. So, it'll be fine. The next book is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. It is the graphic novel version. I have seen people talk about the written version of My Brilliant Friend. They said that it was beautifully written, but I wasn't entirely sure if it would be something I was interested in. So I got the graphic novel version. I was strolling through Barnes & Noble looking through the graphic novel section because I am doing this reading challenge called Her Kid 2.0, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, hosted by Cordy. And one of the prompts is to read a graphic novel adaptation. And so I decided, you know what? Let's try. And another prompt is to read translations. This book, it was translated from Italian. So I figured, you know what? Let's try to kill two birds with one stone. Let's get the graphic novel version of the book, because at the very least, if I don't end up liking it, I can at least enjoy these beautiful pictures. The artwork I was flipping through the artwork. It's haunting. It looks sketched or painted. It looks like paintings as opposed to like the traditional comic artwork that you would see in other graphic novels. I figured that at the very least it'll just end up looking really nice on my bookshelf, even if I don't end up liking it. And that graphic novel version should be easier to get through, faster to get through than the written version. And then the last hardcover that I have is the Barnes & Noble special edition of R.F. Kuang's newest book, Catabasis. I don't think I need to explain what this book is about, which is good because I don't think I could. I actually have only read one R.F. Kuang book, and it was Yellowface. I haven't touched any of her fantasies yet, but every single book that she has written, the premise has kind of intrigued me. I am very curious to know what her writing is like. A lot of book talk and Bookstagram like to talk about how mentally stimulating her books are and how they tend to have like deep meanings or like make you think. And, you know, sometimes you need a book that's going to challenge you. A lot of books these days aren't really that challenging, at least the ones that have gone popular on TikTok. So seeing that this is generally seen as a challenging read, that her work tends to generally be very challenging for readers, I figured I would pick it up and make my way through it slowly. As I said, I've only read Yellowface so far, and I read that maybe 2 years ago. I thought it was pretty decent. I think I rated it maybe like 3.5 stars, maybe closer to 4 stars. I remember really struggling to read from June's point of view. She was so insufferable, which, to be fair, was the point. She was not meant to be redeemable, but I think the writing itself was good. The topic was interesting, and so I am excited to get through and start reading some of R.F. Kuang's other work. I plan to start with the Poppy War trilogy. I feel like it'll be the least challenging to read of her works, and I expect it to also emotionally devastate me, just based off of all of the reading vlogs I've seen, where people are just struggling and full-on crying from this series. Potential reading vlog, maybe, if I actually do end up picking that up. Moving on, we have a few more books, this time in paperback. As I had mentioned before when I was talking about Atmosphere, I am a big Taylor Jenkins Reid fan, and when I went book shopping for my birthday the first time, other than Atmosphere, there was only one Taylor Jenkins Reid book I had never read, and that was Malibu Rising. I picked it up and immediately read it. I ended up rating this a 3.25 stars. I found that I didn't really like June and Mick Riva's relationship. Mick was not a likable character, but I also didn't like June. I absolutely hate reading about women who can't stand up for themselves and who just revolve their lives around a man. I think it's sad and just not a fun read when a character is like that. So I truly did not enjoy any of the flashbacks until we got to the point in time where the kids started taking over for the flashbacks, where it was more focused on Nina and her siblings. I really liked reading about the kids. I liked all 4 of them, but the parents' relationship ruined it for me. So this ended up being one of my lowest rated Taylor Jenkins Reid books that I've read. But that being the last book I needed to read before Atmosphere means that I am fully open and ready to start reading her newest release. Okay. And then the other book in this stack that I have already read is the Raven Boys graphic novel. This is the first book in the Raven Cycle. The Raven Cycle is I believe, completed series that is getting re-released as graphic novels. Similar with My Brilliant Friend graphic novel, I picked this up mainly because of the Herkyad prompt to do a graphic novel adaptation of an already released book. I didn't really like this either, unfortunately. I was scrolling through Reddit after I finished because I closed this book completely confused. I didn't really understand the world, and let me back up and give you a little bit of a synopsis. So this follows a group of friends who are looking for the ghost of a king, and so they enlist the help of the town psychic's daughter. I don't know, that's basically it. They just go searching for the king. The art was absolutely beautiful, but I just don't understand the rules of this world. It takes place in our universe, like this takes place in Virginia, but I don't understand what really any of it means with the ley lines and the psychic abilities and whatever it is they're looking into. So I don't really get any of it. I don't understand how it works. I don't really understand the motivations for any of them. It feels like a lot of detail was lost in this adaptation. And when I went scrolling through Reddit afterwards, I found that people on Reddit had agreed and said that this graphic novel is better for people who have already read the original series and doesn't work by itself because you lose so many details in the graphic novel form. So I do plan on picking up the original series, reading that, and then if I end up liking it, I might go back, reread the graphic novels, and then pick up the graphic novels for the remaining books as they get released. Because right now the only graphic novel version that's released is for book 1. Another book that I picked up, I had heard about this book for years, but I, for some reason, never saw it in the bookstores. I don't know if I was just blind or looking in the wrong places, but this most recent trip to Barnes & Noble, I saw it sitting out on a table, and I was like, oh, there we go, I need to pick it up. It is Cultish by Amanda Montell. This is different from pretty much everything that I've shown so far. It is a nonfiction book about how cult influence develops and about how cults happen, different kinds of cults, cult identity, ideology, communities, etc. This has always seemed very intriguing to me. I just never found the book, and I don't really do well with audiobooks. So I figured I saw it on a table, might as well grab it while I see it, and I can finally pick that up and read it. Okay, the next book, similar to Taylor Jenkins Reid and R.F. Kuang, another author that I'm currently deep diving into is Frederick Bachman. I recently read the Beartown trilogy earlier this year. I read it a few months ago, loved it. It was so good, had me crying. The last book had me absolutely crying. And I was talking to one of my friends, and Frederick Bachman is one of her favorite authors. I was telling her I was reading the Beartown trilogy, and she told me that the Beartown trilogy was actually her least favorite work by him, and that Anxious People was her favorite. So obviously I picked up Anxious People as my next Frederick Bachman read. according to her, Anxious People is a little more humorous than the Beartown trilogy. She said that the Beartown trilogy is one of his more serious works, but Anxious People has a little more humor in it. The writing style is a little bit different, but it is still deep. It still takes a good look at people and just human lives, human nature in general. I'm excited to see how that one goes. If you have noticed a pattern going on, I like to mention whether or not a book has the potential to make me cry, because I am not a big crier. It is hard to get me to tear up or sob at a book, but I absolutely love it when a book can get me to sob. And I don't know if Anxious People has the potential for that. I'm not sure if it is that kind of story, but I've heard that it's similar in that it's good commentary and he does a good job at looking at ordinary people and how people live their lives. While I was traveling, this is probably the only book that did not come from Barnes & Noble. I picked this up while I was traveling. It is Strange Houses. This is a Japanese translated fiction. I believe it is a horror book that is told using floor plans. I don't really know anything else about it. It just sounded very intriguing. And like I had mentioned for My Brilliant Friend, the Herkyed Challenge has a prompt that encourages you to read translated fiction. So I figured this could fall under the Japanese translated fiction. 3 more books left. Another new release this year. This has been talked about so much. It is One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. Everybody at the beginning of the summer was talking about how good this book was. When this released, I had owned Every Summer After, I think is the name of the book, but I hadn't read it yet. I ended up picking it up and I really enjoyed it. I was kind of surprised at how much I liked it. One of the tropes in there is not my favorite, and I thought the book was a bit predictable, but I absolutely flew through it. And I heard that One Golden Summer is the sequel to it, or I guess is a interconnected standalone in the same universe, but it follows Charlie, the brother from Every Summer After, and I loved Charlie. So I am very excited to see his love story. I am a little worried that this got overhyped for me and that my expectations will be too high going into this. The second to last book is Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. I don't know anything about this book at all. This is the Barnes & Noble $5 cafe book for September. The cover and the sprayed edges are just so cute, really fall, very, very fall vibes. And I decided to pick it up because 1, it's only $5 with the purchase of a cafe item, but it's really only $5. And 2, I figured it could be a very good palate cleanser, especially if I pick up any of the heavy hitters sitting on my TBR, such as The Poppy War or any of the other R.F. Kuang books that can be a little exhausting and heavy to read. And then the last book in this book haul, we have a very popular book. So many people have been talking about it. It is Project Hail Mary. I figured I should pick it up before the movie covers start coming out. I absolutely love doing book to movie comparisons, so I want to read this before the movie comes out next year. One of my friends was reading this last month and she said that it was really good. I think she mentioned that her main hang up was the amount of science put into it, go figure, it's a sci-fi, but that some of the scientific discussions went over her head, but that it might have had, I think she mentioned that it had something to do with bioengineering, and that was my major in college. So she recommended it to me, said that she thinks that I would enjoy it, both because the plot itself was very interesting and gripping, but also because a lot of the science that got lost on her, I would probably understand. I'd probably comprehend a little easier. Those are the 24 books that I got for this book haul. Let me know if there's anything on here that you think I should read immediately, which ones you liked, which ones you disliked. Other than that, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. And yeah, bye.